I'm here with Kelly Butler, and she is the Paranormal Housewife, along with being a bariatric patient. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Um, like you said, my name is Kelly. I am a housewife. I also do paranormal blogging and make YouTube videos. I currently live in Illinois with my husband Jeremy, our two cats, Katniss and Bagheera, and our dog John Paul.
How long ago did you have your surgery?
I had my surgery in mid-May of this year.
This year. Okay. How are you
So, like,
doing?
I'm doing great. I am 4 months out now and I am 62 pounds down.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about something that your nutritionalist has really ingrained in you, correct?
Yes. My nutritionist has been absolutely amazing. If I had some of the nutritionists that I have seen in some of these bariatric groups, I would not have done the surgery. Whitney has been incredible. One thing that she teaches is moderation, not restriction, because when you start restricting yourself, then you set yourself up to just all of a sudden snap and eat everything you've been denying yourself and just overdo it. Whereas she's like, okay, you want cake? Go ahead. You're only going to be able to have like 2 or 3 bites before you get full, but you satisfy that craving and you don't feel the need to overindulge later on. So that's what I've been doing ever since I got off of the initial diets right after the surgery.
Right. Yeah, the first few I would say the first couple months even, you go through the phases of liquids and soft foods,
Yep.
first purees and soft foods, then you slowly introduce different foods in. So when did you start eating with moderation? When you started introducing new foods in?
I'll be honest, it was actually right there at the 3-week mark because it was my husband's 30th birthday and he had had Japanese cheesecake for his birthday cake. And Whitney was like, go ahead, have a small slice. That technically counts as soft food. So I was able to have cheesecake 3 weeks out.
That's
But
incredible. Yeah. It's
so even then, it was just amazing.
it's important to make sure that you're not eating too much because the stomach is so much smaller. But it's hard to say, no, I can't have X, Y, and Z. I can't eat this ever again. It just seems terrifying when you go into the surgery thinking, I'll never eat cake again. Because if you love cake, it's something that might deter you from even getting the surgery.
Not only that, but if you're at celebrations and stuff and you don't want people to know you've had the surgery and you're like, "Nah, I can't have cake, I can't have ice cream." People are gonna ask you why, and it's gonna make things so much more uncomfortable, and you're gonna want to avoid those situations instead of enjoying life.
We, as a society, we really revolve around food, our holidays, our celebrations. When we get together with friends, it's usually over a lunch, dinner, something like that, some kind of food. So, in order to really be able to participate in that socialization that comes with it, you do need to have some kind of food. So it's
Right.
important. And like you said, sometimes you don't want everyone to know that you had this surgery.
It's not everybody's business.
Give me some examples of foods that you thought you wouldn't be able to eat after surgery that you have been able to eat just in moderation, other than that wonderful cheesecake.
Well, I mean, last night I had Chinese food. And if you go into any of these bariatric groups, eating takeaway is heavily frowned on. You should be cooking your own foods and it should just be protein. We went and got Chinese food last night because we were craving it.
That's wonderful. So the food cravings is a hard thing for a lot of people, even without the surgery, just weight loss. How do you deal with your food cravings now, opposed to pre-surgery before you found out about moderation?
It's really weird. After surgery, the thing that I crave the most is either watermelon or just fresh fruit in general, and it's like pregnancy craving, like, I have to have it now. I have left in the middle of the night to go to the grocery store to go get a bag of grapes because it was just like, I gotta have something now.
Yeah.
But before surgery, yeah, I would need to have something sweet after dinner, and I don't have that craving anymore.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really helpful to be able to eat in moderation when you're not having those cravings for certain foods.
Yep.
Because I've noticed in myself that I've been craving that crunch. It's not necessarily like chips, but just something that has a crunch. And I'm not over the hump yet from soft foods. So I can't have like crunchy vegetables yet. I started with Cheerios because
Okay.
everybody keeps saying, you want to treat yourself like you would a baby. So you want to eat like a baby would eat. And I'm like, babies eat Cheerios. So I gave them a try. And it's nice to be able to have something. But again, within consideration of how small the stomach is, you have to eat in moderation. The size of the stomach almost forces you to eat
Yeah.
everything in moderation.
Yeah. Once you get past these stages, because I know your surgery was fairly recent, you'll really start feeling the restrictions when you try and eat normal food, and you'll be amazed at how little you're really able to eat.
It's
It's kind of trippy.
it's been interesting so far because with the soft foods, you feel like you're already eating real food. It's just all like soft and mushed up kind of. So
Yeah.
it hasn't been too bad so far. So food cravings were really bad, especially in my pre-surgery diet.
Oh God, that was awful. I
Yeah.
never want to go back to that.
No, I don't blame you. So what was your pre-surgery diet like?
um, my pre-surgery diet was I could have 2 to 3 of those, protein shakes a day. I could have unlimited, non-starchy veggies, and then I could have any kind of broth, and that was it.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
and I could have, like, yogurt, yeah, I could have yogurt. So that was basically I was very, very limited for 2 weeks, and then, 3 days beforehand, I could only have broths and, uh the protein shakes. That was it.
So it was
Uh,
completely liquid 3 days before.
yes. And oh my god, I was so cranky.
Me too. It was such a hard like transition from eating normally, not having the surgery to reduce your stomach size and the hormones that your stomach produces to make you feel hungry, which when they remove part of your stomach, they remove part of the production of those hormones.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle for me too, and I'm sure a lot of people have gone through similar situations with their pre-surgery diet. Um, but what was your motivation through the whole thing?
The whole reason I wanted to get this surgery was honestly because of my boobs. I used to have really big boobs. They were a J cup, and I really needed breast reduction surgery because it got to the point where I needed physical therapy and stuff because it would pull the muscles in my neck, and but the plastic surgery team at my hospital wouldn't even meet with me because of my weight. So I was like, screw it. I'll have the weight loss surgery and then I can get my boob reduction surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that I had gone to a plastic surgeon myself when I was in my early 20s because I had the lovely arm waddle.
Oh.
But
Yeah, I've got that too.
yeah, you know, I've grown to just accept it as it is because I know I will need plastic surgery because I've had it. It started developing when I was like 16. It's not going away with weight loss.
Yeah.
So I went and they told me the same thing. We will not perform plastic surgery until you're at a healthy BMI.
Yeah, which I kind of get, but at the same time, it's not fair because not everybody can control their weight. I know I have a lot of autoimmune disorders that make weight loss impossible normally. This was my last hope for losing any kind of weight.
I'm in the same boat. It was my last effort to really make that change in my health and my body. And I had become more accepting of what my body looked like, but my health wasn't going along with what my acceptance was. So my health kept deteriorating, and my doctor was the first one who mentioned it to me.
Yeah. It's a great tool, and I'm glad there's a lot of us out here taking advantage of it because it's something that we can do for ourselves.
Exactly. And I love that you call it a tool because that's exactly what was ingrained in me by my doctor. It's only a tool. It's not
Yeah.
an answer, it's not a solution, it's a tool.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I'm eating a lot smaller, but there's still things I gotta do to make sure that it's actually working and doing what it needs to do. So I still got to work out. I still have to eat right, even with the moderation. There's certain things I have to focus on. So
Yeah. What are those things that you need to focus on?
protein and fluids.
Yeah.
Those were the two things that my nutritionist told me that those are my priorities. I don't have to count my calories or anything like that or count carbs. It's as soon as you get up, everything you eat has to have protein in it, and you have to constantly be drinking something. So,
Absolutely. Constantly. Do you have your water bottle next to you?
diet tea.
I've got my Crystal Light.
I can't find a Crystal Light that I like that doesn't taste too chemically, so I just live off of diet tea.
I was experiencing the same thing, but kind of as my taste buds have evolved through the surgery and the different phases of the different diets, I found that I've gotten used to the fruit punch. The fruit punch is my favorite by far. And it used to be like lemonade was my thing. So I bought a whole bunch of real lemon drink things, and I can't drink them.
It's so weird how your taste buds change so much after the surgery. It's unusual.
It's surreal. That's what does a typical day look like to you? You wake up and
First thing I go do is I let my dog out and then go get my breakfast, which is usually one of those Oikos yogurts, the 000, because it has like 15 grams of protein,
yeah,
and then usually a bottle of Fairlife.
okay.
So that way I'm getting in almost 30 grams of protein in that meal, but it takes me like an hour to finish that bottle of Fairlife.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Uh, but after that, then usually I'll start writing for a little bit, and then I get those little meat and cheese packets,
Mhm.
and that technically it's a lunch for me, but that's what I use to snack on throughout the day if I get hungry. And uh, because we're in a temporary location right now, our dinners come from a place where they pre-make the meals. You just pop them in the oven or pop them in a crock pot. And that's what I'll make for our dinners. So that way I don't have to worry about actually cooking stuff or meal planning. But they have like a lot of keto friendly options if you want to do keto. But the guys that I live with, they like mac and cheese and lasagna and stuff like that. So we'll eat a lot of that stuff.
Nice. So you're eating carbs, correct?
Oh yeah.
So what does a plate of carbs look like for you in moderation, opposed to what it would look like pre-surgery?
Well, pre-surgery, it would probably have been half a box of wheat thins would be a serving for me. And now a single serving is like 16 crackers, but my dog eats half of those because he has to have one for every time I eat one. So I'm eating like only like 8 wheat thins, and he's eating the rest.
Now, do you have find yourself having to make sure that you're eating in moderation, or is it coming natural to you at this point?
Because I know what my signs are for when my stomach is full, I'm automatically eating smaller. The only times that I really have to worry about how much I'm eating is I live in a pot-friendly state, so if I've been smoking, I have to make sure I'm sticking to my little pack of crackers because that's already pre-measured out, and I don't have to worry about overindulging and eating half the box because I'm afraid that might happen.
Yes, the munchies are hard to get through.
Yes.
So
But
you
yeah.
said you pre-measure things. Um, Tell me a little bit about the containers you use, how you pre-measure.
Honestly, I just buy a lot of already prepackaged stuff like the Sargento's balance breaks or the little protein power packs that they have.
Mhm.
I'll just keep those so that way I can just either throw them in my bag or just grab them out and mindless eat without having to actually measure stuff out, but they're only 2 ounces each.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and those are pretty packed with protein too, because
yes.
that's the point of them. Protein keeps you full, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to maintain at least 80 to 100 grams of protein a day. So just having those as my mindless snacks for when I need to eat something, I can reach the goal easily without having to rely on shakes and things like that.
That's awesome. Tell me what happens when you are out running your errands and you get hungry. Do you carry something with you? Do you?
The only reason I have a purse this big is so I can have, like, I keep an emergency protein shake, bag of almonds, trail mix, raisins. Like I keep stuff in my purse just so that way I'm not tempted to go to McDonald's or something like that and get something that's super greasy, super not good for my stomach. I did find that there's places like Dunkin' Donuts you can go and get like 4 pieces of bacon.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that before the surgery. So I can like if I don't have anything, I'll just run by there and grab one of those. I know it's not the best thing, but it's pure protein without the carbs.
Absolutely. I know Starbucks has the like mini quiches too
Yes.
that they have. Those are really good. Those are great for running errands if you forget to bring something or you just have a craving for it,
Yep.
because you get two of them and that's plenty and it's got your protein and you're
Have
set.
yet to be able to eat the second one. I can only eat one.
Those are bigger. We have a coffee shop called Tim Hortons in our area. It's mostly a Canadian coffee shop, but
Interesting.
because I'm in Western New York, it's so close to Canada that they came down. They have something very similar there, and they're like on every corner. Like they're like Starbucks around here. So
Nice.
anywhere I go, I can get a egg white and spinach mini bite.
Cool.
So it's great to know your options,
Yes.
because if you don't, you might fall into that trap of getting whatever. We're out in the world. We're not hermits just because we
Yeah,
had
no.
surgery. We're not just holed up in our house, home cooking everything.
No, I may be a housewife, but I like to go out and have dinner and feel like a normal person. I don't want to be staying home all the time and just eating what's in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets boring too.
Yeah, especially after all this COVID stuff. Let's get
Oh,
out.
yeah. I am like done sitting at home all the time. It's just like, let's do something. even
Yes.
even if it's just driving around. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about getting bariatric surgery? What should they start doing in regards to moderation before surgery?
Honestly, the thing that really helped me the most before surgery, and it was something that my dietitian really wanted me to do, was do the food funerals. Because even if you can go back and have that food after the surgery, you're not going to be able to have the same size and the same comfort feeling as just gorging on it before. So once you've gotten through all your steps and right before you start your pre-op, go ahead and do the food funerals, and I'll put you in the right state of mind for when you're going through all these steps, because you're not going to sit there and be like, oh, I wish I had had pork chops breaded in Doritos one last time or something like that. Sorry, I was just trying to think
That's
of one of the
okay.
foods
It
we used to.
sounds actually kind of interesting.
It's really good. I have not had it since the surgery, but it's really good.
I can imagine. Doritos are good, pork chops are good. Put them together.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about a food funeral.
It's basically your favorite foods, your comfort foods, the things that when you're that bring you the happiness. Just having that meal that last time, knowing it's going to be the last time for a while, and just sitting down and absolutely enjoying it, focusing on the food, not just mindlessly eating in front of a TV, but you're focusing on the food for the last time. Um, yeah.
No, that's a great idea. And to do it before, so you could just say, this is the last time.
Yeah, you have that closure.
Yes, it's
And yeah,
fantastic. I wish somebody would have told me to do food funerals before I had my surgery, because once I started that pre-op diet, it was all food funeral. It was just like, I'm done. I'm done. Oh my God.
yeah, and that's one of the things that I noticed is like there were so many people posting like regrets, and like they're like, I wish I could have this one more time. I'm really struggling. I'm missing this food. And I'm just like, that's kind of weird because I don't feel the same way. And I'm wondering if it's because I had the food funerals and was able to say goodbye and stuff and not just have it yanked away from me.
Right.
So
Well, moderation too kind of fits into that not having food regrets, because the idea that you could have a couple bites of cake or a couple bites of ice cream at a celebration, and just the concept of being able to, and it not being restricted, it not
yeah,
being a, a hard no, it kind of feels like that would really make you feel like, okay, I don't have to gorge myself on this. I don't have to overeat here, because I know that I'm going to be able to have this again sometime, but just
right.
a small portion.
Well, one of the things that Whitney had said was once you get to a certain point, because you're doing moderation, it doesn't feel like you're dieting. And if you're not dieting, you're not constantly thinking about it. And if you're not having to sit there and tell people, oh, I can't have that, I can't have that, it's not, you're always focusing on your diet. You're not focusing on the surgery. You just get to enjoy life and think about other things for a little bit, and you feel like a normal person. And
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons she says so many people fail diets, is because that's all they're focused on, what they can't have, what they can't do, what they gave up, and just how much they miss the other stuff. And honestly, now that I'm 4 months out, I'm starting to see that I do have a more normal life. It's not all based around the surgery. It's not all based around what foods I can't have. My husband's wants to go get Chinese food. It's not an issue. Or if we want to go do something else, it's like, okay, I don't have to sit there and worry, does the menu have something that I can eat? I can just go there and enjoy the experience without having to stress.
Right. Like we went to Dunkin' Donuts and they have the healthy sandwich. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like the eggs, the turkey
Yeah.
sausage, I think. And it's on like this very the thin bread.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
So I mean, I'm sure most people have been to Dunkin' Donuts and at least seen it on the menu, but I took a bite of my fiance's egg sandwich and I was like, oh, that was good. Because it's something that I hadn't had in a while. And I'm like, oh, turkey sausage I can have. Um, eggs I can have. A little bit of cheese is fine. So I was like, give me a bite of that. I just didn't eat the bread part because
Right.
I'm not ready for bread.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I am still on a restriction on right now from Whitney until I'm like 6 to 9 months out is I can't have sandwiches.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's the bread is hard to be processed through the stomach. So it's the same. You don't eat peanut butter yet, or have you started eating peanut butter now?
I eat it off the spoon or I'll put it on celery.
That's great. I know that my nutritionist told me to wait on peanut butter because the way she explained it was it basically kind of can stick to your stomach the way it sticks to your mouth.
Yeah.
So you don't want to eat it really soon because I'm like, oh, protein, peanut butter. Like you think it's
Yeah.
food, you can eat peanut butter, but no.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I only save that for like when I'm really, really, truly craving it, which that's one of the things that I don't crave as much as I used to. Before pre-surgery, peanut butter toast was my go-to breakfast. And now after the surgery, it's like, okay, I might have a little peanut butter maybe once a week, if that.
See, I spoiled myself because we get PB too. So I
Oh,
still
okay.
have peanut butter every day with my shake. Chocolate peanut
See,
butter shake every morning.
I haven't tried that yet. I'm like,
Do you make your protein shakes or do you buy all the premier proteins?
I just keep the premier proteins for like when I'm too busy to actually sit down and have real food. I mean, these I bought like last month and I think I've drunken one of them.
Gotcha.
But honestly, I would rather drink Fairlife or I get these things called slate milk. They're like chocolate milk or coffee milk, and they're 20 grams of protein. And they're half the size of the Premier shakes, and my stomach seems to tolerate them a lot better. Whitney really wanted me to eat my protein instead of getting it straight from a shake. So that's why I've been trying to save these as my emergency backup.
Right.
Um,
That makes sense. Yeah, it's important to eat real food once you can.
Yes. But I know each person on this journey has a different way that they're doing it. So if you like
Yeah,
your shakes, drink your shakes because that's going to get you your protein in. It's
right.
so
Yeah,
whatever works for you, you need to do.
the protein is the most important part besides the liquid.
Yep.
I know I talk about making sure you stay hydrated a lot so far in the different videos that I've made because I think I've mentioned hydration in like every single video so far because it's something that I'm struggling with. So
Yeah.
it's it's such an important key that you stay hydrated because if you don't, you can get really sick.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm 4 months out, but I still struggle with the hydration part. I mean, there are days where I start getting dizzy and I'm like, well, I only had one bottle of tea today. So maybe I need to drink some more fluids.
Right. Do you have to schedule your food and your liquids separately? Do you have like a space? Because I know my nutritionist and my doctor wants me to wait um, before and after, like almost forever. They don't want me drinking
I
and eating at the same time.
I only had to do that in the beginning. Once I hit the 2-month mark, she said that as long as I was taking small sips and not drinking like a whole big thing, then it was fine just to have a few sips right after I got done eating. But other than that, I don't have to space it out.
Okay.
So,
No, that's great because I know that everybody, like you said, has their own journey. And I always like to mention that, you know, you need to follow your doctor's prescribed diets and
yes,
prescribed, you know, regimen because that's what's important. And it's your doctor. You got to listen to what they say first and
right.
foremost.
But it is kind of crazy how different some of these doctors are. Like, I mean, there's no way I could have done this surgery if I had to be forced to do keto for the rest of my life. My big passion is doing paranormal blogging, and through my blog, The Paranormal Housewife, paranormalhousewife.com is the address for it. I talk about what it's like to live with spirits, haunted objects, the history behind haunted locations and urban legends, and I also talk about ethical ghost hunting. Ethical ghost hunting is a huge passion of mine. I started learning how to be a paranormal investigator long before Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, all these different shows came out. And over time, I've been seeing how these shows have affected how people investigate, how people treat the paranormal, and things like that. So I'm trying to go in and show people how they can go and do investigations, get more solid evidence by doing scientific things a certain way, and more of a scientific background than just going in there and provoking and things like that. I don't believe in provocation. I believe in going in and treating the area, the spirits, and the living with respect. And there's a whole lot of things that I teach so that way when they do get evidence, they don't have to worry about self contamination because, like, one of my big things is wearing all black when I go on investigations. So that way, if you get something in a window, you don't have to worry, oh, is that Jenny's white shirt that's being reflected or is that a spirit?
Yeah,
So things like that, just to kind of set a good neutral ground base.
yeah.
So when you do get things, you can rule it out more easily. And basically, don't act like Zach Baggins. He is a huge reason why I do what I do because so many people ruin things because they act like him or just sneaking onto property without permission, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
But that's really cool that you do that and you have a passion because what's life without passion?
Yeah. Everybody's got to have something that brings them joy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me and talking about moderation and your journey as you've gone through bariatric surgery and beyond. And
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you coming on.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. And
No problem.
I've had a lot of fun.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe above.